Hello, my Mercurial mercenaries. So I've listened to Band-Maid's World Domination, and the first thing I can say is that it is an album that benefits from multiple listens. I'm not sure how well it would have fared if I'd done it as a discover, a one-off where I just talk to you guys. What I like about it from the very off is that it is balls to the wall. And for that reason, it's actually refreshing. This is a refreshing album. Bands over the past couple of decades have been evolving into caring so much about nuanced music. This album, it's like 20 years haven't happened. Right off the bat, musically, I think this is the album that Axl Rose was aiming for when he was making Chinese Democracy. It's got that kind of feel to it. During the first listen, I was thinking, okay, we've got some dated heavy metal here. What's the big deal? But I suppose the big deal is this is dated heavy metal being played by cute Japanese girls dressed as maids. Yeah, that's a novelty. So, upon repeated listens, I was having to decide, does this album rise above novelty into being good? First things first. This is a Japanese band, Japanese singer, singing in Japanese with a mix of English. Now that caught me off guard at first. Japanese and English lyrics interspersed. It kind of reminded me of times on programs like The X Factor, where a contestant will come on stage on an English show and they'll say their name, Jose, whatever. They'll be Spanish. And they'll go, oh, what are you doing here? And they'll go, oh, either I've lived here for a number of years or I've come over to compete. And then they'll sing their song, an English song, and then halfway through the song, they'll just switch to singing the lyrics in Spanish, just for a little bit of the song. And the audience will be like standing ovation, and Simon Cowell will literally be licking, and they're through because of the novelty factor. Wow, they can sing in 2 languages. Wow. And when I'm listening to this album, I'm thinking, well, just sing in Japanese or just sing in English. Why are you mixing it up? I was listening to these songs and they were ticking boxes. Iron Maiden guitar solos, Alice Cooper chant-alongs, sections that sounded a little bit like U2, but overall a kind of 80s, 90s heavy metal landscape. On first listen, I thought the production was a bit muddy and a few too many guitar solos just going sort of Adrian Smith style from the 80s. But I repeated the listens. I gave the band and the album a genuine chance. And honestly, these songs are catchy little buggers. They are catchy little buggers. And where I initially had criticisms, oh, this one's a bit ballady, oh, this one's a bit too 80s metal, this one's a bit too 90s stompy, this one's a bit too noughties, introducing the keyboards, those kind of rave Euro trance keyboards, bit of tattoo. Repeated listens, I just thought, yeah, this band has got something. They've got something. It's catchy. And I was remembering the choruses, or I was at least remembering the tunes of the choruses. There's some vocal inflections there that I was thinking, that's good. For everything I just said about switching vocals between languages, it really doesn't matter because half the time I can't tell what anyone's singing anyway. And if you've watched any of my series about songwriting in general, you'll know that basically nobody cares about lyrics. Nobody will ever ask you about lyrics. No one really cares what the lyrics are. They'll sing what they want to sing. They'll hear what they want to hear. And I was liking what I was hearing. And on songs like Daydreaming, there's some really sweet little bits in that song. And the song afterwards, Anemone, what's it called? Anemone. There's some really just beautiful little bits on the vocals there. Haven't got a clue what it's about. Haven't got a clue what she's saying, but lyrics here. I'll sing it for you. Something like that. I don't know, my mercenaries. But I was liking it. Tuneful. It's got expression. And yet it never loses the fact. It never loses that initial impression of balls to the wall, which is interesting, given it's an all-female band, but balls to the wall rock music. I know in my comment sections, people have said, you should see this band live, Mercurial number 6, because they really kick ass. And I can really imagine that on this album, in a time where, like I was saying, people are so careful and they're so wanting to be clever. And I'm guilty of this sometimes, but people are so wanting to have subtleness and layers. And while there is a little bit of that here, on the whole, it just does that, and it does that song after song. And these are Japanese girls dressed as maids, but they can play, and they've got catchy songs. And for that reason, yes, they rise above being a novelty band. And this album, and it takes repeated listens, this album's good. This album's good. Yes, it's a little dated. There were times there when I was transported back to 1990, watching a Def Leppard covers band. I could almost taste the snake bite. Do you know what I mean? The drums are sometimes unnecessarily frantic, and most of the songs end with a ringing cymbal. There's things I would change here, but overall, it kicks ass. It does, it kicks ass. There are songs that sound like other songs. There's actually a song that sounds a little bit like the Riverboat song by Ocean Colour Scene, believe it or not. There are moments where you can really not only hear a solo that sounds like an 80s guitarist, but you can practically name the guitarist. But I don't mind that. I don't mind that. And in an era where people who talk about music are criticised for slagging off the likes of Greta Van Fleet, and you might say, well, what's so different here? You said Greta Van Fleet tried too hard to sound like Led Zeppelin, yet you're giving Band-Maid a pass for sounding like every 80s hair rock band. But that's not the point here. Stuff either touches you or it doesn't. And that doesn't have to be sexually. But this album, after multiple listens, touched me. And therefore, would I recommend Band-Maid's World Domination? Yes. Yes, I would. Thank you very much, my mercenaries. Click the thumbs up, click the thumbs down, click whatever you like. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Don't subscribe if you don't want to. Thank you very much. Have a good life. Till next time. Over and